Stay tuned for Northern Tonight, hosted by me, Chris Leader. We have fun, music, interviews, and about all the fun you can handle. So stay tuned for Northern Tonight.
Welcome to Northern Tonight, hosted by Chris Leader. Tonight's guests include Kevin Rogers, a music performance from Megan Baran, a special report about Alpha Delta Pi from correspondent Becky Simon, and a music video from Undecided. So take it away, Chris.
Hey, we're joined now by Kevin Rogers, who's a graduate from Northern, and he's also a filmmaker who made a movie for a class here at Northern called Disillusion. So, welcome, Kevin Rogers.
Thanks for having me.
It's nice to have you here. Now, what got you interested in filmmaking in the first place?
Gosh, well, ever since I was a wee lad, I have always gone to movies 4 or 5 times a week growing up, just because, you know, it's fun to go to movies. You know, you can go with a group of friends, you can go by yourself, you can do whatever you want, and then you watch the movies, and movies have such an emotional impact on you and your lives and stuff like that, and that's what the filmmakers do. They control you, the way you feel and stuff like that as you're watching this movie, and I've always liked that element of control.
Definitely. Now you shot Disillusion as a student film for a class here at Northern. How did you come up with the idea for Disillusion? It's kind of an interesting movie. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, when you sign up for the block, which is the class that you have to do it for, you don't know exactly who's going to be in it. You don't know who you're going to be working with and stuff like that. So you can't really decide on a movie because sometimes the people you're with aren't like that. Like I didn't want to do I didn't want to like write a comedy because what if the people I was working with were boring and not interesting or anything like that? And you can't make an action movie because what if you work in
And with a limited budget, you can't do a lot of plane crashes and explosions.
Well, maybe 1 or 2. No. So, yeah, you just have to I just kind of had to go with it.
Right. Now, how would you describe Disillusion to someone who hasn't seen it?
Gosh, I don't know. That's a tough one because I would have to say it's kind of a dark movie. You know, it's more serious. It's definitely not a comedy. It's more of a drama. But it's unique, you know. It's not something that you can say, oh yeah, this is formulaic and stuff like that. That's what I was trying to do. You don't want to go for something that you've seen 1,000 times. You want to do something different.
It's never fun to be able to predict a movie from start to finish.
Right.
Now, from the script to the screen, were there any major changes that took place? I mean, when you wrote the script and when you filmed it, were you like, oh, I just got to change all of this?
No, for the most part, it went pretty much. I mean, there were some changes where we'd come up on shoot and it was like, hey, if this guy does this, it's a much better way of rounding things off, or it's a better way of doing it. So we would have to make adjustments to the dialogue for that, and because we shot it in 19 days.
19 days?
Well, not actually, from beginning of writing it to the finishing of editing, it was 19 days. We only had maybe 2 weeks of shooting.
Oh, my.
We had to work around people's schedules and stuff like that. So we had to, we may have had to say, okay, we can't actually do this way because this person can't be here.
A lot of improvisation.
Yeah, a little bit more than you would find for most movies.
Oh, okay. Well, let's take a look at Disillusion, directed by Kevin Rogers.
What the hell is happening to me?
Hey Spencer, where's Sophie this weekend?
She's at an advertising convention in Phoenix. She'll be back on Tuesday. Find something interesting, Michael?
We've got to get out of here now. She's in there.
We're not going anywhere.
something.
What? What could I possibly know?
You're in on this.
In on this? Michael, I'm running this.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a great clip.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I think the stars you cast in that are pretty darn handsome.
We're all right.
Now, was it fun filming Disillusion? Was it a fun experience?
Well, the actual process was a little interesting. We start off in the block. You start off with groups. You pick groups and stuff like that at the beginning of the year. And what happened was I had wrote another movie. I wasn't even Disillusioned. I wrote maybe 75% of another movie with the help of the other two people. And I'd schedule something for, to be shot or something to happen, and they'd cancel it.
Oh.
And it just went that way for the first 3 quarters of the semester, where things just weren't working out. So I was getting desperate because here it is, 3 weeks to graduation, and I didn't have anything, and this is our grade.
So it's time to take it into your own hands.
So what happened was I just went to a friend's house for 2 days, and I just wrote, and I came up with the script, and then we all got together, me, a bunch of my friends, and I, and we, worked it out, and we went out and we shot it, and that second half of it was fun. The first half was very frustrating.
Yes, I would imagine. And I would imagine it would be easier to shoot with friends because it wouldn't be these people you don't know what they can
Yeah.
do. If you're with friends, you can say, well, you can't do this, so I'm not going to have you do this.
Right. It's a more relaxed atmosphere
Mhm.
than, because you always have to try and feel out people and stuff like that when you're working with people you don't know.
Although in 19 days, I can't imagine it was too relaxing.
No, but there were points where it's like, whatever. At this point, we were like, whatever, it doesn't even matter.
And was it hard to direct yourself? I know you have a role in this, Agent Carter.
I have a role, unfortunately.
Was it hard to direct yourself in a movie?
No, the hardest part was trying to remember all the lines. Because there's a part where I have a little bit of a monologue, and we had to, because I don't enjoy that aspect. I'd rather be behind the scenes. But no, the directing myself wasn't hard because I knew what I could do and stuff like that.
That's good. That's good. Now, besides making movies, I know you've been involved in film activities at Northern. Can you describe that?
Yeah, there's a Student Film and Video Association on campus that, what we did was we'd get together and we'd talk about movies, or we'd try and come up with ideas for movies or commercials, just stuff that we can do just to become more familiar with equipment or with movie types, genres, stuff like that. And I was the secretary of that for my last year.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Great. And since you graduated, what are you doing now?
Right now I'm general manager of a movie theater.
So you didn't get too far away from films.
No, I try and keep in the same thing, and this gives me another aspect of the business to learn. This is how people see it and stuff like that. So you get to learn what people like and stuff like that.
Have you found yourself having conversations with customers about movies that they've liked and
Absolutely.
things like
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, it's great. And, you learn so much about people and their interests, and
That
it's
would be
wonderful.
I would imagine that would be helpful as a director, as a
Absolutely.
filmmaker, to hear what people like, and
Absolutely.
then you can just make movies that people like. You don't have to be good.
That's right. No.
Now, what movies would you say influenced you the most? What films have had the most interesting things in them that you said, I really like that. I'd like to do something like that.
Wow, anything Hitchcock.
Oh.
He's absolutely wonderful, and his movies and his shots and everything are so interesting and so complex, and they're just wonderful. And Spielberg's movies are interesting because of his variety of genres. He's gone from serials and Indiana Jones to serious, almost documentary-style dramas with, like Schindler's List, and his style of filmmaking and the way he sets things up and the way he makes the audience really get into the movie is just absolutely wonderful.
Right.
And Citizen Kane is, I think, the handbook for the filmmaker. Because you can watch that and learn something new every time you see it. So anything Orson Welles does is absolutely wonderful because he was just magnificent.
Oh. Now, what would you say is now I know it doesn't have to be artsy, but what would you say is your favorite movie of all time?
Actually, up to last year it was Field of Dreams, just because I'm a huge sports fan, and that was just an absolutely wonderful movie. But since I saw American Beauty last year, that just completely blew my mind.
American
It's
Beauty.
absolutely wonderful movie. I mean, and it has an artsy element to it, but it's also, it could be considered mainstream to the point where it made $100 million. So Not too
Right.
many art films could say that.
Exactly, yeah. And I know you mentioned Hitchcock and Spielberg and Orson Welles. Who would you say is your most influential director?
Wow, it's hard to pick just one because to do that would just be almost like you're just copying their style. But if you can draw from other filmmakers like those three, and Quentin Tarantino has a wonderful style of filmmaking. And,
Very unique.
right, and Brian De Palma is very good. But those three, I think, of course, you got John Ford and Howard Hawks, and they, were back in the black and white era. With, John Ford did the classic Stagecoach, and he did great westerns and stuff like that. And they just had such a wonderful view of everything. And it's wonderful just to watch their movies without even dissecting them.
Right. And finally, some critics have said that movies today are just derivative of other movies, which are derivative of other movies and things like that. It just keeps going. Movies aren't getting any better. Would you agree or disagree with that? Would you say movies are still becoming better and different and varied?
Well, it's hard to make an original movie now because you've got over 100 years of movies that you have to draw from, and everything is inspired from everything else. So to come up with a plain original movie is very difficult. But the advances in technology, special effects, sound effects, stuff like that, it's an absolute wonder what could be done.
Right. Well, we've been talking to Kevin Rogers, Director of Disillusion and a graduate here at Northern. Thank you very much for being here. It's been a
My
pleasure. And thank you very much.
In the 1980s, DeKalb area churches and community members formed a committee to discuss the homeless problem in DeKalb County. Through their effort, Hope Haven was founded. Hope Haven is a 10,000 square foot shelter equipped with a classroom, playrooms, family program, and bed space for 72 people. They provide shelter for people who work entry-level, low-paying jobs but cannot access affordable housing. You can help. Call 758-3166.
Welcome back to Northern Tonight. Next up on the big show, we've got a treat for you classic lovers. It's Megan Brand playing a selection on her flute. Thanks a lot, Megan. Great job. Hey, next up for all you Northern Tonight fans, we've got a Greek life report by Becky Simon. Take it away, Becky.
For a young woman, finding a place to fit in college can be a lonely and difficult task. Joining a sorority can help the student to be herself and still feel as though she is part of something big. One such sorority that helps women feel at home in college is Alpha Delta Pi. Eugenia Tucker Fitzgerald had an idea to form a society where her dearest friends could come together and always be welcome. On May 15, 1851, at Wesleyan Female College in Macon, Georgia, she formed the Adelphian Society. The society was co-founded by Ella Pierce Turner, Octavia Andrew Rush, Mary Evans Glass, Elizabeth Williams Mitchell, Sophronia Woodruff Dews. In 1913, the sorority was renamed Alpha Delta Pi.
Qualifications of being a member in Alpha Delta Pi are scholarship, high value principles of behavior, and true friendship.
Because of their high standards, each member must have a GPA of 2.5 or higher and serve at least 5 hours of community service each semester. The Northern Illinois chapter of Alpha Delta Pi is called the Delta Omega chapter. In 1964, the Delta Omega chapter consisted of 30 members who lived in what is now the Sigma Alpha Epsilon House. In 1971, Delta Omega chapter's 60 members moved into the sorority's current home at 1230 Black Hawk. Today, there are 75 members. Alpha Delta Pi is involved in many academic and community activities. In addition, Alpha Delta Pi actively promotes their philanthropy.
Philanthropy is an event where we earn money and it goes to our charity.
Our philanthropy is around the McDonald House, and this year we did Oktoberfest, which is something during the day we had relay races like we did three-legged race, bed races, potato sack race. We did a tricycle race, that was really funny. And then we did a pie eating contest.
Well, we try to do a lot of sisterhood events. We have like retreats where we do fun things like learn about each other, and recently we did a 5K walk to raise money so we could donate something to the university for our 150th anniversary. We have social events once in a while. We like to cook dinners for fraternities. I don't know why, because we're not the greatest cooks, but we always like to cook spaghetti for them.
Alpha Delta Pi values sisterhood above all else.
That could be sisterhood. One thing could be that, like, last year, one of the girls that didn't live here had problems with her boyfriend and her roommate and stuff. She couldn't handle living with her roommate anymore, so she pretty much stayed here for 2 months and shared a room with somebody else.
I remember one specific time when my roommate got extremely, extremely sick in the middle of the night. And so it was on this very bed, actually. She ended up vomiting in her sleep, and she didn't realize that she was doing it. So I had to, get her sheets off the bed and clean them and throw them in the washing machine. And of course they wouldn't come clean, so I had to scrub them and scrub them and scrub them and stick them in the dryer and then like wash them out in the sink if they didn't come clean. And put them back on her bed for her because she was just really, really sick. And I told her in the morning and she couldn't have been more happy with me. That's sisterhood to me.
Well, something that I think one of my favorite memories of the house is, as a freshman, I became really good friends with the seniors that were in the house. And as it was my sophomore year, my friend got engaged, and she later on got married. And like she was talking about what day she was going to have her wedding on, and I'm like, she's going to have it on August 7th or August 14th, and my birthday's August 14th, and it was going to be my 21st birthday. And I wasn't really that excited about my 21st birthday because whoopee, you can drink now, right? It's not that big of a deal. And I like begged her to have it on my birthday, and I was away at summer camp all summer, and I came back for her wedding to be in it. I was one of the bridesmaids, and I felt so honored because I'd only really known her for a year. But
In 2001, Alpha Delta Pi celebrates its 150th anniversary. Eugenia Tucker Fitzgerald's vision of a secret society of sisterhood has proven itself throughout the decades. Alpha Delta Pi remains a welcome choice for college women who wish to be themselves and remain among friends. For Northern Television Center, I'm Becky Simon.
We'll be right back after this.
In DeKalb County, over 200 people are on the waiting list for subsidized affordable housing. A national study indicated that 13% of homeless individuals become homeless due to health problems. 22% of homeless people are veterans. 25% of the homeless are children. You can help. Hope Haven gives hope to homeless individuals and families in DeKalb County. Call 758-3166 to give to individuals and families in need.
Hey, welcome back to Northern Tonight. Well, earlier we heard Megan Brand play some classical music on the flute. Well, now we've got some more music for you, but you could say it's about 180 degrees from Megan. Take it away, Undecided.
Haven't you?
Another American solution, another addiction, an easy way.
Better way out. Generation action problems concentrated. I burn them. We got to slow them down. Hurry to the left to create another drug. To tie them down and make them what we want. Rid all that, another solution. Rid all that, yes, to a problem. Rid all that, takes out a life. Rid all that, is all we need from it. Another pill from it. Slow down from it. The answer from it.
Never again.
just oh so very delicately.
Well, that's the end of our show. I hope you've had as much fun as I have. Join us next time for another edition of Northern Tonight. And until then, I'll see you around.